only 2% of books published in South Africa are in local African languages, yet 80% of the population's home language is not English nor Afrikaans. This is impacting children's literacy, with 8 out of 10 South African grade 4 learners unable to read African books. Speaking a second language is hard. Imagine having to learn or read for the first time in a language you don't even speak. The Cadbury Dairy Milk, Read to Succeed initiative has committed to addressing this need through the recently established movement. For more on this, we are joined by Langa Khanyile, the Equity Lead at Cadbury Dairy Milk. Langa, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Simpiwe. Thank you for having us, and good morning to all your listeners.
It's an absolute pleasure, man, and we are so glad to have you join us this morning, because we will be having a very, very important conversation with regards to literacy, and especially in the African context. So, what really propelled Cadbury to be a part of this initiative?
Well, Cadbury has always been a company that is interested in pioneering social change, and as you said in the intro there, when we learned about this very harrowing statistics that only 2% of African or books in in South Africa are written in African languages, we really felt that we needed to do something about it. Because, for us, when you are able to read, you are then able to participate in society, and we really do believe that it's critical for our children to be able to participate and play a meaningful role in society.
So how important is creating awareness around children learning to read in their own respective home languages?
Well, I'll tell you a story. As kids growing up, we knew that whenever my own grandmother, for example, would say, or once upon a time, we knew that we were in for a treat. And then she would tell us such gripping stories about amazimzimu, amananablele, singing out loud their terrifying promises to gobble us up. And the worlds in those stories were relatable. The trees were laden with amapuchuchu, and the characters had names that we knew the meanings of. And unfortunately, all of those stories were lost with her. And in my home, at least, I did not have a single children's books written in Zulu, which is my home language. And reading in general, whether in your home language or any other, plays an integral role in a child's development. The better the child can read, the more they can comprehend and understand the world around them. And a love for reading is sparked when the children can see themselves in their stories. So it's critically important for kids to, from a young age, develop a love for reading. And there's a recent survey by the Publishers Association of South Africa that highlighted, as I've said, that only 2% of children's books published in our country are in African languages. And as you also said, in a country where 80% of the population speak a home language other than English or Afrikaans, there are not really enough relatable stories available in our nation, and therefore children are not able to develop a love for reading. And we want to change this.
Yeah, in as much as reading in indigenous languages helps kids to embrace who they are, embrace their identity, and see themselves in the stories, how does reading then in their own language help build their confidence, and how do African language books increase comprehension skills?
When children are able to read in their own home language, they have that sense of pride. Yes. Remember, when you were first able to read the words that you hear being spoken around you, you feel quite an achievement, right? It's an enormous source of pride. And if you're fortunate enough to have books written in your home language, that is a massive milestone. And I'd like to point out, though, that we can't just translate stories from other countries because their contexts are not relatable. And we need stories that can reflect the people in this country. And when children read stories by South Africans or Africans about areas they know and people that they can relate to, they feel seen. It changes how they view themselves, and it gives them confidence. So that is why Cadbury would like to create new stories and help craft a new narrative for our African kids.
Okay, so what have you planned with this initiative? How will it be brought forward?
Sure. Firstly, we're highlighting the tension points, i.e. the literacy levels in South Africa and the number of children books available in African languages, and asking ourselves, is there a link? And we believe there is, and therefore we partnered with experts in the literature industry to help us bridge the gap. And we are calling on all South Africans to lend their generosity towards creating new children's book. So we would like everyone to join us by visiting cadbury.co.za and just help us by starting to translate African or words into African languages. Over there, when you go onto cadbury.co.za, you'll see that we've created a word translator that allows South Africans to translate English words into their home languages. And the incredible authors at Nalibali, which is a reading for enjoyment organization, has partnered with us to then use these words and to co-author storybooks using the words that the public share.
All right, Langa, great chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And many thanks to Cadbury for being the vehicle and the catalyst for the development of literacy through indigenous languages. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
All right, thank you. We just spoke to Langa Khanyile on the Cadbury's Dairy Milk initiative in partnership with Nalibali, which has set a goal to create and translate 1,500 new stories for children in their own home languages over the next 3 years.